Well, hello my lovelies, it's Murky Meg here. It's Saturday the 22nd of May and this is my second video about the Me You Can't See show that Harry has done with Oprah Winfrey. If you haven't seen my first video, I've popped a link up in the right hand corner. Please do go back and watch it because it really is an eye-opener. So we left off where Harry was drinking and taking lots of drugs in his formative years, which, to be perfectly honest, we knew that he was a bit of a Jack the Lad. Now, the show continued on with Harry delving even deeper and deeper into the issues that he had during his childhood and into adulthood. He said that the only way to free yourself is break out and tell the truth. I'd like to know if this telling of the truth, he's ever concerned about the mental health of his family that he's continued to be trashing. He said it's his responsibility to break the cycle. Everyone has some sort of pain. He said the moment for him to say that he needed help was when a couple of people said it wasn't normal behaviour. They said perhaps you should look into this or get some help, and he said that he didn't need any help and he always thought of himself as a yes man. He went along with everybody that he said. He said that he was sent here, there and everywhere and he didn't challenge it. He just got on with it. He said that he was sent to Nepal when he didn't want to go, and he said that that caused him a lot of anxiety. He said that being sent here, there and everywhere led him to burnout. He said that he saw GPs, doctors, therapists, alternate therapists, but he said it wasn't until him and Meghan had an argument that she said that he needed therapy. He said that if he didn't get therapy, that he was going to lose the woman that he could see himself spending the rest of his life with. His therapist then said that he was reverting back to his 12-year-old Harry. Now, yes, granted, what he went through was terrible, but he's not the only person to ever lose a parent so young. And the fact that he's still drawing comparisons about his behaviour and what happened to Diana, I think is a lazy person's way out. That's not me kind of dismissing all his mental health issues. He's clearly a troubled soul. And I think that whatever therapy he wants to get or be in, I think he needs it quite seriously. But what I think he needs to stop doing is blaming his lifestyle choices, his decisions, what he's done and how he's doing it on anybody but himself. He needs to look into himself about why he's doing it, not blame other people. He said that because he's never processed what had happened with Diana, he was never allowed to talk about it within the family. It's now coming up as projection because he's aware that he lived in a bubble. He felt trapped in the thought process, in the mindset. And then he directly links what Diana went through with regards to being hounded by the paparazzi to what Meghan went through. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, and I've asked this on Twitter. I cannot see one single photograph of her being hounded by the paparazzi like Diana did, and also like Kate did. There is no comparison there. He actually says the words that he said he thought his family would help, but every single ask and request got met with total silence and total neglect. Yes, he said the royal family were neglectful of him and Meghan. He said that he spent 4 years trying to make it work, staying within the family, carrying on, dealing with the royal thing, doing the job, but it was all a struggle. He said it was at the Royal Albert Hall at the event when Meghan was allegedly 6 months pregnant. Early in the evening, Meghan shared with him about her thoughts, about what she wanted to do. We all know what she said within the Oprah interview. I don't particularly want to say it on this video because I will get hit with a strike. We all know the sort of thoughts that she claimed to have had. He said the scariest thing for her was what stopped her was that she said that she couldn't do it to him. She couldn't follow through with what she was thinking because he had lost his mother and she couldn't let him lose another woman. That is manipulation in its finest. It is saying my pain and my thoughts are not just mine, they're yours, and you are stopping me. You're stopping me progressing. And it's all, I can't do it to you, I can't. I just think that is a terrible thing for somebody to say. She's putting those thoughts and projecting them onto him. And now he is obviously, his puffed up chest is going to be protective. And he's going to be the alpha male. And of course he's going to want to save her and do everything in his power. This was the catalyst, I believe, that made them leave. She knew that she had him by the short and curlies and that she was in total control. He actually said the biggest reason to leave, he didn't want history repeating itself. He felt trapped and controlled through fear, both by the media and the system itself. He said the system implying the firm. He said it's never encouraged talking about this kind of trauma, and now he will never be bullied into silence. He said that only after meeting Meghan did he start the process of trying to figure things out in his mind. He said that Meghan saw the anger within him, and having done therapy for 4 and a bit years, it's all about prevention. Then it went on to show Harry in a therapy session. He was doing EMDR, which is a trauma-informed therapy. They actually had video of him with his therapist over Zoom, putting his hands across his chest and tapping and eye movements. I'm sorry, but this is a man who demanded so heavily that he wanted privacy, yet he's letting the world see such a private event, a personal therapy session. That's not privacy at all. The therapist goes into detail while Harry's got his arms over his chest crossed, saying that what's the trigger of the anxiety? And Harry simply says that it's London, it's UK. That gives him the anxiety. He says that every time he flies into London, he gets the fear and he's triggered and he feels hurt and helpless. Well, to that I say, never come back then, sunshine. You've just shown your whole contempt for the UK. I say stay in California, live your life, but please do me one respect. Please shut up. He actually uses the word trauma is very much geographical. Is it though, Harry? Is it really? He went on to say that there was no option in the family to leave. He said, eventually, when I made the decision for my family, I was still told, no, you can't do it. He says, how bad does it have to get until I can be allowed to leave? She was going to end her life. Shouldn't have to get to that. Now, I am on Piers Morgan with this one. As harsh as this may seem, I'm not buying it. I'm really not. I'm not buying that there were these thoughts while she was supposedly carrying Archie. As a woman, you just don't do that. She had every single privilege that life could have given her, and it just beggars belief that this was a tactic she used. It's gaslighting at its finest. From that very point, she had him. She had him in California. There was no going back. Oprah asks if he has any regrets, and he says, yes, the biggest regret is not making more of a stance earlier on in my relationship with my wife, and calling out the reason when I did. History was repeating itself. My mother was chased to her death while being in a relationship with somebody who wasn't white. And now look what is happening. Yes, he went there. He said that Diana died because she wasn't dating anybody that was white, and that he is now married to somebody, a biracial woman, and he says that it's exactly the same. He says, in his words, they're not going to stop until she dies. Unbelievable to suggest that Diana died because she was dating Dodi El-Fayed. No, Diana died because she got into a car with somebody that was drink driving and she didn't put a seatbelt on. Harry said that it's incredibly triggering to potentially have another woman in my life. The list is growing and it comes back to the same people, the same business model, the same industry, i.e. he's blaming the media. He went on to say that my father used to say to me and William when we were younger, it was like that for me, so it's going to be like that for you. That doesn't make sense, he said. Just because you suffered doesn't mean that your kids have to suffer. In fact, quite the opposite. If you suffered, you do everything you can to make sure that whatever experiences you had can make it right for your kids. We choose to put our mental health first, and this isn't about breaking the cycle, but it's making sure history doesn't repeat itself. Squarely aiming at Charles there. He said that the Oprah Winfrey interview was about being real, being authentic, and hopefully sharing an experience that we knew was incredibly relatable to a lot of people around the world, despite our unique privileged position. I'm afraid, Harry, it just made you look like whingers. He said that before the interview aired, he was woken up in the middle of the night to Meghan crying into her pillow because she didn't want to wake me up because I was already carrying too much. Oh, it's a joke, really, isn't it? But that's the issue. It's not a joke. He's gone on and actually said these words. He's looking like an incredibly privileged twit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you weren't forced at gunpoint to do the Oprah Winfrey interview. So why would that cause pain to Meghan to have her crying into the pillow? Perhaps she knew the outcome of the interview would be so dramatic, so therefore she was slightly worried. But that can't be right, can it? Because narcissists don't think that way. More than likely, she was afraid that she was going to be found out. That's what a narcissist fear the most. He continues saying that therapy has equipped him to take on anything. Without therapy, we'd not be able to stand this. I would never had any anger throughout this. I believe you have, Harry, because this is coming all from anger. He says that it's not anger, it's compassion. Making this move was really scary, but I have no regrets. It's incredibly sad, but I have no regrets at all because now I'm in the place, well, I feel like I should have been 4 years ago. He said that he's learnt more in the last 4 years than he had before the 32 years. And this is the funny bit. Harry says, I have no doubt that my mum would be incredibly proud of me. I don't think she would, Harry. He said, I'm living the life she wanted to live for herself, the life she wanted us to be able to live. Well, no, she knew what your life was going to be about because she married the future king. Are you basically saying that Diana wanted none of this? Diana wanted to be queen. That was evident. She said so in the Martin Bashir. Don't get me started on that weasel. He's despicable. But it was still Diana's words. Martin Bashir asked her, do you think you will ever be queen? And Diana said, I don't think I will ever be queen at this point, but I will be queen of people's hearts. She still knew and wanted to be queen. So if she knew what privileged life that you guys were going to grow up into, how on earth can you sit there and say that she'd want the private life for you? Does not make sense. He went on to say, not only do I know she's incredibly proud of me because she helped me get here, I have never felt her presence more than I have done over the last year. I wish she could have met Meghan. I wish she was around for Archie. He then went on to say about Archie's first words, one of which being Grandma Diana, that they have a picture of Diana in his room. He says that he's on his way to healing part of his life, the younger years, and having clarity of perspective that I never thought I would dream of. And I'm still the person I was, but I'm just a better version of the kind of person I feel I've always meant to be. Okay, Harry? This isn't privacy. This is publicly shaming his family, and I'm really, really disgusted in him. What effectively he's doing, he's trying to build his brand, and I believe that his brand is therapy. Now, I put it out there the other day that could this be his way of dealing with his emotions? Well, I don't think it is actually, because he is literally squarely aiming at the royal family and blaming them for everything that's wrong in his life. And then in the second sentence he's saying that Meghan was the one that saved him. And if you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you. There's one thing I'd just like to comment. He's having a meltdown publicly, and Oprah Winfrey is enabling that. She's tapping into his trauma. This isn't about Harry's mental health. If it was, he'd take ownership of his own mental health and start building on that. What he's doing is tearing down the institution that enabled him to live this very privileged life, but he can't see it that way because he's been so gaslighted and blinded about everything that they think is wrong in his life. They are squarely blaming the royal family for everything. At what point do we as adults sit up and say, I am the one that's responsible. I am the one that can change my own destiny. And actually put it all to bed and say, draw a line in the sand. That is it. enough is enough. When will this ever stop? What's next? Who else is he now going to attack? Because I don't think this is over. I think that Harry is far from being over. He's building a brand on controversy. And that is in its essence. I think it's incredibly manipulative to make one partner believe that they are the problem in the relationship, that they are the one that needs help, that everything that they have gone through up to this point is causing issues within the relationship, when in fact you are the cause of those issues. Now, if that person was genuinely caring and had a loving family of support around them, I'd probably actually say, yeah, you've got a point. Meghan doesn't have her family around her. She's not a shining example of family compassion, is she? She's done exactly to Harry's family what she's done to her own. The irony of all of this is that how can somebody who keeps talking about pain and family pain and the pain that his family have caused him have no compassion for the pain that he's now causing his family? What on earth is next? The royal family are remaining in dignified silence on this, and quite rightfully so, because they are cutting off their oxygen. But this can't continue like this. It really, really can't. I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this. Have you watched it? I mean, you don't need to watch it. It's in the media everywhere. They've really got what they wanted. They've got global coverage. Everybody's talking about it. Obviously, I'd like to hear your comments on this. But the most important question is, what next? What next is there to come? Will there be any more attacks on the royal family? Because it seems like Harry and Meghan are building their brand on attacking the royal family. But on their Archwell website, it says about building compassion. They're not showing compassion at all, are they? They're showing contempt. I'd love to know your thoughts on this whole, sorry, mess. But one important thing, I stand with the Queen and the royal family, and I can't imagine what she's going through right now. As always, I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.